name's Ilona Marr. I play for the USA Rugby Sevens team, and you're watching the Women's Rugby Show.
Hello, and welcome back to the Women's Rugby Show. I'm Sam, by the way, and today I'm bringing you episode 4 of our One to Watch in 2022 series. We've already done 3 episodes of 3 of the brightest stars in the Premier 15s, and you can watch them back with Cecilia here, Eloise here, and Alana here. Have you watched all those videos? Because they're really intriguing and really interesting to film and both watch back as well. But this video is with Cece Gordon-Hill from Saracens, who's recently been making a massive push to their starting shirt, made a debut and also made a first start in recent weeks. So it was really enjoyable chatting to her about what her hopes for the future are, her aspirations for the future are, and also what she does outside of rugby. It was really interesting to hear that. But before we get into the video, make sure you like this video, subscribe to us on YouTube, and also check us out across all social medias. If you've done all that, well, let's get into it. First of all, thank you so much for joining us. How are you? How are you after yesterday's game?
Yeah, no. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm in good spirits. No better feeling than a Premiership debut at home. So yeah, I'm just letting it sink in now.
Yeah. So first of all, obviously this is our One to Watch series. So first of all, can you just tell us a little about kind of your career path up until yesterday, making your Saracens Prem 15s debut?
Yeah, sure. So, actually, fellow teammate Kelsey Clifford introduced me into rugby, and I was about 15 at school, just by chance. And I signed up with my local club, OAs, and I just didn't really look back ever since that moment. I mean, I just progressed naturally through the ranks of like county and regional. I moved on to Centre of Excellence for Saracens, and then I actually decided to move out, try and be a bit more independent. So I gave Loughborough a crack for my second year of college when I was about 17. And then I made the move back down to Saracens to continue like my England pathway. So I progressed through England under 18s, and I'm currently in the under 20s. And there's quite a quick and brief overview as to where I am at right now.
Obviously, you mentioned you got introduced to it at 15. Were there any other sports you played when you were younger, or was it kind of just rugby?
I mean, it's a bit of a strange one. I did like horse riding as a kid. I don't know how that even happened and came about. But yeah, I tried quite a few sports under the sun. I mean, I tried things like karate. I tried golf for whatever reason. Nothing really clicked like rugby did.
Were there any kind of inspirations in terms of rugby when you first started?
Funny enough, yeah, like I didn't know heaps about the sport. So naturally being intrigued and wanting to see what the top tier looked like, I just kind of went on Google, and players such as like Portia Woodman was a big standout, Maggie Alfonsi, and even my teammates today like Marley Packer, Poppy Kiln, Vicky Fleetwood, they just resonated with me naturally.
You mentioned you were at Loughborough. How kind of was that time for you? You played a couple of Premier 15s games for them, and also in the development league there. How was that for you at Loughborough?
I loved it. I think, even off the pitch, I learned a lot about myself as a person, and managing athlete lifestyle while studying. I can never fault Loughborough as a team, the environment. It made me a better person, a better player. I think the challenges was just, adapting to life being far from home. But I got really good experiences, whether that was for the development league or even just like getting minutes under my belt in the Premiership. It was just a really immense experience.
And there's some incredible names in that Loughborough side, even then, like Sarah Hunters, people like that. How was it playing alongside them at such a young age and training alongside them?
It was even now, like at Saracens, but it's just hard to not like fangirl. It just feels so surreal that like you're sharing the pitch with them and you see them week in, week out, and it's like, oh my God, like they know who I am. Like it's a crazy feeling, but I learned so much from them, and getting that first-hand knowledge was really crucial for me to develop as a player.
And how did that move back to Saracens kind of happen?
Most of it was just like the circumstances surrounding COVID, and I think being away from home wasn't too feasible at the time. So it was a sensible and a difficult decision, but I do think everything happens for a reason.
At the start of this year, you were part of the Saracens kit launch, the photos. How was that for you? Was that kind of a nice experience to be, well, I'm in here on this kit launch with some of the biggest names in men's rugby as well?
Yeah, no, it was a great day actually. The sun was shining number one, can't fault that. But just the whole experience, like popping the kit on, like having first glance and meeting like the staff like City Index and our sponsors, taking the time to know the people behind the branding. There's a whole load of work that really goes into that promotion. And it just made me appreciate the work that people put in behind the scenes to, drive us in the marketing. And even just like with the players, like seeing like the men's players on the day, it was just really fun. It was, yeah.
Do you think it's important that Saracens, one of the kind of leading clubs in Premier 15, to kind of have such link-ups between the men's and the women's? And how do you find that being one of the younger players in the side?
I think as a women's team, we are given our own identity, and that's really crucial. I feel we've got a big push, but we receive the same treatment. Like at the end of the day, we're all rugby players. And I think, yeah, as a young rugby player, it's important. I think identity is crucial as well. When we think of Saracens, people think, like, the men's team. But when we talk about the women's team and how successful we've been in previous seasons, I think that's really driven our name. And things like having, TV rights and that now has really helped gain like more exposure.
How important was the Allianz Cup for you at the start of this season? Obviously, the development competition, since the development league's not about, but how important was that for you?
I mean, the day like we were moving into the week preparing, I got a call from my coach, and he was like, "Oh, like you looking forward to it?" Like, I thought he was just checking in, just seeing how I'm doing. He's like, "You looking forward to playing?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." He goes, "You looking forward to like captain?" I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What?" Like, I didn't realize, I was stepping up, especially like for my first game, to kind of lead the charge. So I think it came with a bit of added pressure from myself. But it was just important. Like for me, it's just a means of getting minutes under my belt and doing what I do best after about 2 years of not being able to play properly.
And you mentioned the England pathway. You played for the England 20s against the Black Ferns earlier in the autumn. How was that as an experience, playing against some of the biggest names?
Do you know what? It just felt like a dream. Like I remember I think it's like for my 15th birthday, it was the 2017 World Cup. And I remember New Zealand playing in the final and the semi-final. And it was just like, wow, like one day I hope, I can play on the world stage and play against the Black Ferns. Like that was just something I wanted to tick off. So when we were told in 20s that, we were playing the Black Ferns, I was just like, what? Like it felt very surreal. And, their play style is very different from what we have. And also just like embracing in their culture, like they're a very like communal, like family team. And it was so nice, like they would sing songs, and it just kind of like shed a new light, like just for me, about like rugby and as a community and what that means. Playing against them, very physical team, very fast paced. It was amazing.
Yeah. And just to touch quickly on like kind of yourself off the pitch, you obviously qualified P2, level 3 PT, and also massively into music. So how important are those kind of things for you in terms of your identity as just a rugby player and also a person?
Yeah, like I have never just wanted to be known as like Cece, the rugby player. Like outside of rugby, I think you can be good at many other things. And I think it just adds to your personality as a player. And just a means of having a balance. If it's always rugby and you don't switch off, I think life can just get a bit stressful, a bit hectic.
And quickly, like focus on the music. How is that something you've had from an early kind of age, or is that something that's come later and later?
Yeah, definitely a musical family. Like dad used to play instruments, mum sings. I mean, like when I was little, I was like whacking like pots and pans of like spatulas and stuff, making noise. Like I just felt intrigued by it, and I taught myself just over the years to just pick up an instrument, just give it a go. I think music's just a good like creative form of expression. That's why I've always enjoyed it. And if you see me half the time, I probably got headphones in because I can't really function without music.
And obviously, this is our one to watch for 2022. So imagine if I was speaking to you at the end of the year, what would you want to achieve by the time this year ends on the pitch, that is?
I think, you know, for me, it's hard because I just take each day as it comes. But I would love to have a Premiership, like a starting position. Definitely, you know, under 20s games still go ahead. You know, even to start or just like to play, like especially around like that kind of like Six Nations sort of setup. I'd really want that under my belt. That's just what's really been on the horizon for me. And coming out of under 20s this year, I'd like to think that, you know, this time next year, I'm kind of involved within that Red Roses setup.
And then, obviously, if you're saying you live day to day, this question's going to be a little bit too forward thinking. But 5 years' time, where do you kind of see yourself?
Well, you know, hopefully playing rugby number one. You know, I think for me, it's just playing on the world stage is always something I wanted to do, especially like World Cups. Hopefully, like just, you know, probably traveled to some extent and seeing more of the world while playing rugby, just doing something I love. And maybe even so like being more of like a household name within whatever club I situate with. You know, I want that hard work to pay off ultimately.
So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, talking to me, and best of luck for the rest of the season. Best of luck for 2022 as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me.